Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
With that, we move on to the last topic of this chapter. And here we will look at monsoon as a unifying bond. Monsoon which unifies the entire country of India. Okay, so we'll see how monsoon unifies, how monsoon does that. Now we already know by now that how different parts of our country records different temperatures, different rainfall patterns, different weather conditions, right? But yet if there is one thing which unifies all of it is the monsoon. Okay. Now we know that the Himalayas act as a protective barrier, act as a wall which protects our country. Now why? Because this Himalayas, when the cold wind blows from the north towards India, then the Himalayas acts as wall, and it prevents the cold waves or the cold wind to enter India and cause decrease in temperature, making the weather much more colder than what we actually experience today. Okay. Now the Himalayas also, by preventing the cold wind, it also leads for the northern plains, the northern India, to have uniform high temperature. Meaning that if the Himalayas were not there, then the cold winds would come and the northern part of India would have cold temperature. Okay, very less temperature, decrease in temperature. Okay, but because of the fact that Himalayas act as a wall preventing the cold wind coming from the north, the area which lies on the foot of the hills, the northern part of India, okay, that area has high temperature, but also that temperature is quite uniform. Okay, it's not quite it's not different from one side of the northern India to another side. It's quite uniform, okay, quite same. So all these areas will have temperature, average temperature ranging from 18 to 29 during the day of a winter season. So like that they have a uniform temperature. Okay. Now if you look at the peninsular plateau, then we have moderate temperature. Why? Because of the water bodies that surround it. Okay, because of the sea, because of the ocean, that the temperature is influenced by it, and as a result it has moderate temperature. That means it does not have extreme weather conditions. It does not have extreme cold, it does not have extreme heat. Okay, but despite this, there are still differences in temperatures all across the country. The temperature recordings of each state is different from one another. Okay, meaning that all the parts of the country still has different weather conditions depending on where they're located, how they're located, or what is influencing them. Okay. Now, the only unifying bond in this case is the monsoon winds, the winds which bring moisture and causes rainfall. Okay. Now, the seasonal alternation of the wind system, or the difference in the movement, okay, according to the time of the year, according to the day of the month, etc. So because of how they move, what causes them to move, as well as where they move, whether they move from high pressure to low pressure, whether they move from high temperature area to low temperature. So all this kind of movement and alternations and changes and transitions, it leads to the formation of monsoon winds, and it leads to the causes of rainfall in India. Okay, and the most important feature of the monsoon is that it causes the cycle of the season that we have in India. Okay, we have winter season, we have summer season, we have advancing monsoon season, we have the retreating monsoon season. Had there been no monsoon winds, then this change, the rhythmic change, one after the other, it falls perfectly, right? So this rhythmic change of the season would not have occurred. Okay. So the monsoon wind is the only thing which binds, which acts as a unifying bond, because then everyone experiences the change in the season. Okay. But despite that, there is uncertainties of the rain. Okay. The rain, we saw the distribution is not equal. The pattern is not the same. Okay. So the distribution is uneven. The pattern different. Alright. But these are the main characteristics of monsoon. These are what make monsoon monsoon the monsoon. Okay. So these monsoon have their unique characteristics, but at the same time they are only thing which binds or which unifies the country. Alright. And because of the monsoon, some parts suffer from floods due to heavy rain, while other parts suffer from droughts or famine because of very little rain. Alright, so these are caused by the monsoon winds, and the monsoon winds which brings seasons, which brings rainfall, okay, and which unifies the country. So in India, it is controlled by the monsoon, the distribution of monsoon, the patterns of monsoon is controlled, or it is influenced by the orography. That means in the earlier topic, we learned that how when the westerly wind or when some wind bringing moisture comes in contact with the hill or with a natural barrier, then it makes the wind to shed the moisture, and only on that side where the wind comes from. But the other side, the rain shadow area it is called, does not receive the rainfall. So the rainfall, the pattern, the distribution in India is influenced by the geography, is influenced by the landscape. Okay, if there is a plain area, okay, the plain area might not receive heavy rainfall, but if that area has hills and valleys, okay, then these wind which are heavy with moisture, they come in contact with these hills, that forces the winds to shed its moisture, causing heavy rainfall. Okay, again in the areas where it is where the temperature is very high, where the heat is maximum, there again the wind holds its moisture holding capacity. It increases its moisture holding capacity, leading to very little rainfall or no rainfall at all. So you see, the landscape, the geographical features also play a very important role in the distribution, uneven distribution of the rainfall in India. Okay, and this monsoon or the experience of rainfall that we have in our country, it influences not only the areas, not only the geography, not only the climate, not only the weather, but it influences the lives of the people, the festivals that they celebrate, the lifestyle they live, their everyday life, the agriculture, the practices of agriculture, their cultivation of different crops, its successful yield, its successful harvest or its failure, it's all influenced or it all depends on the monsoon. The animal and plant life also depends on the monsoon. The landscape, like I said, the physical features of our country, of our nation, of India also depends or is influenced by the monsoon and its distribution and its pattern. Okay, so this is why monsoon plays a very important role in forming the climate of our country and in also influencing other features of that climate, weather, and also the life, day-to-day life and the landscape. Alright.